and welcome to The Straw Hat with Rabbi David Wolkenfeld and Rabbanit Goldie Guy. We are the official podcast of Anshe Shalom B'nai Israel Congregation, an Orthodox synagogue in the Lakeview neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois.
This week's Torah portion is a double parsha, Nitzavim-Vayeilech, but each one is really, really short, so even the two of them together is pretty short, and for its size contains a number of really, really powerful, beautiful, really inspiring verses. So encourage those who are available and able to do so to come join us in our parking lot for our minyanim this Shabbat morning. I guess I haven't yet found laners for all of the laning, but I'm not too concerned. The night is young. But even if you're following along at home, like this is a portion to read and contemplate many, many really beautiful themes and beautiful verses.
And you can join us afterwards for our kids' parking lot parsha-themed activity, davening and activity.
Oh yeah, that launched last Shabbat. I had one of my children was there and had a great time, and we're glad we're doing it again. And while the weather's nice and it's really easy to be outdoors for tefillah, we should really encouraging people to take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely, I think. Right, these opportunities to gather in a safe, socially distanced way, right? While the weather is still good, they're really, really important opportunities. And I think it's connected to a theme in this week's parsha a bit, the mitzvah of hakel, of gathering together to learn Torah together that we read about in this week's parsha.
Please say more.
The mitzvah of hakel is taught that Moshe says that every seventh year, the year that's set for Shemitah, on the holiday of Sukkot, the Kohen Gadol and the Melech they conduct this mass Torah reading where the king reads from portions of the Torah to all of Israel. So it's a ceremony that happens every 7 years, and there's major Torah reading. And it's, in a way, like a reenactment of Har Sinai. There's a gathering of the entire nation. And in fact, like a crucial element of this gathering is that every single person is meant to be there. Every single person, from young to old, from all backgrounds, everyone is gathered. And it kind of teaches you that part of Torah is community, right? Without the presence of every single individual, this Torah reading celebration wouldn't be whole. It wouldn't be a full completion of this mitzvah. So there's a real depth and magic to the gathering of everyone together that actually serves to complete the Torah and the experience of Torah learning and living Torah in the world.
That's really a very important lesson for this year. I've been thinking a lot about the way in which people's spiritual lives, people's connection to Torah and mitzvot, people's connection to God, people's sense of living an intense Jewish life is so much connected to being a part of a community and what it means to be part of a community that you can't be in proximity to in the same ways that we did before. I think so many Jewish communities are struggling with this. So many, like every Jew is grappling with this. Like, what does it mean to have a connection to Torah and mitzvot when I can't be hundreds together in shul? Without what sustains my religious commitments without singing together in shul or schmoozing together in Kiddush or having Shabbos meals together with my neighbors and friends. Right, all of these aspects of community these are not like ancillary. These are not minor. These are the things, like the stuff that sustains our commitments. We don't, it's very hard to be like the Jewish Robinson Crusoe would be in a real tough spot. Like how do you sustain commitments to Torah if you're by yourself, right? I think it's a real, and we've all in various ways had to try to answer that question in really painful ways, I think, for many of us.
Absolutely. But I think, right, the absence that we've been feeling of that lack of connection, the isolation that can happen when we can't gather in ways that we've been used to, has also highlighted the small ways in which we can connect and the power that we have for those small moments of connection to really make an impact, right? Even when we can't physically gather, reaching out and making a phone call, sending a text, an email, asking someone how they are, calling that person that you may not have reached out to before because you were going to see them in shul. You were going to see them at Kiddush, right? And you can't do that now. So that absence has highlighted the power of the little things, right? The immense power that we actually do have to connect in these small ways and the impact that can have.
Yeah, that's important. It's just it's important. I think this is like a grand experiment. I mean, this is a tragic and really hard time, and a lot of people are suffering really immensely. And we've also been forced to go through this experiment of like, how do we sustain our sense of community without the ways that we've learned over centuries to build community, and then also like the secondary question of like, how do we sustain our commitments, our religious commitments, without the things that used to sustain it, without the plausibility structure, right? Of like, I go every Shabbos morning and I'm with hundreds of other people who are also experiencing Shabbos morning. So without that, like what's the plausibility structure that kind of makes this lifestyle and these commitments makes sense anymore? And I think those are really hard questions. So thank God we do have ways we can text people, and say, I'm thinking about you and I miss you. We can, we do have distanced tefillah in our parking lot for those for whom that's safe. And I would just say, like, I think we've never had a week where all the slots have been filled. So Friday night and Shabbos afternoon, we always have empty slots. We usually have empty slots Shabbos morning as well, and one or both minyanim. So if you've been waiting for the perfect opportunity, maybe it's this week, unless it's raining. Okay, maybe it's next week. Okay, so check it out. This Shabbat, weather permitting, we'll have our third iteration of our Into the Field activities, where we've been encouraging people to just be present in a distanced and masked and safe way in the park. We've been gathering south of Briar Street, the Briar Street playground, in those fields to the south. There are a number of members of the shul who've been gathering there anyway to sit and to picnic, and so we've been encouraging others to go as well and just to greet one another and to say Shabbat Shalom. I've been roving the grounds, sharing short words of Torah to people who I don't scare off by that, and it's been really nice to see one another. And
from my experience, having been there last week, I don't think people were scared off. I think it was very nice. People seemed to enjoy, and I got to see new faces, especially for me being still kind of new to the community. It was really lovely to just see and meet new people, to see people coming out in a safe way to connect that way.
Yeah, and somebody wrote to me that they were concerned that there was big crowds in the park, and was it so safe, and where was everyone distanced? And I really appreciate that person's concerns, and I what I respond to them was that you might see people who are a little closer together than you feel comfortable with, but the park is big enough in that location that each individual really has the ability to keep the distance that he or she feels is right, and you want to 6 feet is recommended, but if you want to keep 8 or 10 feet, you can do that. And if somebody else is too close to their neighbor for your comfort, you don't have to join them, right? You can stay a few feet farther away from them, and that you can sort of maintain your own boundaries that feel safe for you and that feel responsible for you, even if 100% of the people who are surrounding you are not acting with 100% of the same practice as you are. And so I think that's why I've felt comfortable, and I encourage people to if that's useful, then you can take that into your perspective as well. And another way that we've been connecting to each other with greater traction and greater reliability in recent weeks is the relaunch of the Pocket Beit Midrash. This is a WhatsApp group that started some months ago and sort of had intermittent use over the past months, but in recent weeks we've tried to keep to a better schedule of sharing short divrei Torah in written and or audio recording form on this WhatsApp group. So little, short things to say about the Torah portion and some halachic teachings as well. I've really enjoyed it. It forces me to remember that actually, even though there are a million things to do and a million things to people who want my attention for one thing or another, actually I really love teaching Torah, and here's a forced I have a commitment to teach a little bit of Torah to these people over this WhatsApp platform, and hopefully those who listen and watch and read, they also have that reminder that they can spare some time for Torah in the midst of everyone's really busy days. So I want to, if you haven't yet joined the WhatsApp group, I encourage you to do so. And all of you who are already on the WhatsApp group, you can press play and listen to the recordings, okay? Because many of you, I know who have you subscribed, and I know how many people listen to the recordings, and many more of you could press play and listen. It's like a 5 or 6 minute recording. You can press play while you're washing dishes or driving somewhere, or putting your shoes on in the morning, and just hopefully you'll find it interesting and valuable.
Yeah, it's a really easy opportunity to get some Torah into your day, and I've been enjoying it. Big plug. All the cool kids are doing it.
The most recent recorded little audio shiur was on a halachic piece by the Aruch HaShulchan, who discusses who has priority in leading services. If there is, he quotes an old Ashkenazi custom that the one who leads slichot early in the morning should lead all of the tefillot for that day. He says that wasn't his practice in his community, and then goes on to say, but the most important thing is that there shouldn't be arguments and fights about who leads. And mourners and people with yahrzeit and all of these types of conflicts that are so common in shuls. The Aruch HaShulchan writes that Satan is dancing amongst us, spurring us on, trying to get us to fight about these things, and it just totally misses the point of what our coming together in prayer is supposed to be about. Totally misses the point, and yet so very human, so very common, and he's sort of encouraging us, like, if you have a little bit of Yirat Shamayim, fear of heaven, and like proper religious orientation, you're never going to avoid at all costs getting into a fight over asserting your rights to lead something or have some honor in shul. If you're fighting over a shul honor, you've missed the point, and that's I think a very powerful lesson, because it's something I've seen. I think in every community where I've lived, this is a very natural human thing to happen, and so he was warning about it 100 years ago. We still need that warning today. And so it was I thought a very relevant piece of Torah that I got to study and teach over the Pocket Beit Midrash this week.
In the theme of preparing for Rosh Hashanah by learning some Torah, we wanted to talk a little bit about how to prepare your home for Rosh Hashanah. What does it look like to be preparing if you're spending a lot of your time at home, as many of us have been doing? How do we kind of transform a space that's been a place of work and play and mess and everything in between over these last months into a place that you can pray in, a place that if you're spending a bulk of the time of the holiday at home, besides in the socially distanced holiday services that we're hosting, how do I make that space intentional? How do I create kind of a synagogue space in my house? So some things I've been reading or ideas that colleagues have shared have been like how to set up a space in your house to look like a kind of shul, maybe setting up a table and spreading out a nice tablecloth to set as your shulchan, as your place where you're going to daven, right? Set aside a space where, there aren't going to be any games or kids' toys, and that's going to be the space that's dedicated to davening. Lay out your Sfarim and your books and your Sidurim, things that you'll be reading over the holiday, to keep there in that space. There are some readings and some great resources that we've been posting on our High Holiday Resources section on the website that you can print out before and have ready, and even be preparing with now, reading a bit. There's a great selection of holiday music that we've been posting about on our High Holiday section to get in practice the tunes of our services, to get in the holiday mood. I was doing a little bit of that this morning, listening to Ellie Kranzler's playlist of High Holiday tunes.
I want to interrupt. Sorry, just to emphasize, because
Sure.
I want to there is a spot on our website which has High Holiday Resources. Okay, it's really, really great material there. Okay, I don't think all of it is going to be necessarily relevant for each one of you, but I think most of you can find something there that's relevant. If you go to our website, asvi.org, it's right there on the homepage. One of the first 3 or 4 things, third thing, on the right there on the homepage, High Holiday Resources. And so there are, again, things you can print out, essays to read before or during the holiday. There's also like a guide to praying at home, like say this prayer. These are the pages you can find it in the Machzor, then say this thing next. So if you're not going to have, somebody, at home with you announcing pages, you can print this out and have a copy as you go through the day's prayers and know what is said at home as opposed to said in shul. The statistics I've heard from some colleagues are that about half of, the membership of, sister congregations are going to be turning up for some sort of in-person tefillah this Rosh Hashanah. I think our shul were a little bit more than half, but maybe 5/7. I think that's the numbers that the estimate we had as of a day or two ago of our typical numbers. So that means many, many, many dozens, hundreds of people who usually spend hours of Rosh Hashanah in shul are going to be spending those hours at home, and we really hope that you have a meaningful Rosh Hashanah in your home. And so the resources, look it over, print out the things you want to print out, see what's there. If there's something that you need that's not there, let us know. Maybe we can help you get that information or get that resource. And I think that preparing the space to pray is also really It's an important idea, right? Because you don't just we don't. If you're used to coming to shul, you're used to coming to a place that's been designed and built and cleaned and maintained to facilitate prayer. That's probably not what your dining room has been designed and built and maintained in order to do ever, right? So if it's going to be your prayer space, like turn it into your prayer space. Have you been doing that? Like, I don't know, like the weeks that you were not at shul. Have you did you transform your apartment in ways to like designate a praying corner or something like that, like a shul seat on your couch? Like, how did you make this work for you?
That's so interesting. Now I'm thinking, I really wasn't so intentional about it. I definitely did make the effort to tune into community. I know where I was tuning into different pre-Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat broadcasts to set the tone. I would set aside things that I was going to read. That I definitely did. I wasn't as quick about other people about being in Shabbat clothing before those Zooms started, which was earlier in the day than I was ready for Shabbat. But think about it. But it really makes a difference, right? To think like I'm sitting in the same chair that I worked from home all week in. Maybe switch chairs, or even just physically move to a different room in the house. Make sure there's I always make sure there's a lot of light wherever I'm davening, if it's in the daytime. I like that a lot. I can see if one room has a better view than the other, if you can look out into nature. Or it's also an opportunity, which I've been enjoying a lot with the outdoor tefillot, of actually going out and praying in nature. I've been seeing some teachers of mine have been highlighting, since I can't be in community with people when I pray, so I'm going to make sure that my space is more inspirational because I don't have the power of community behind me. But I can choose to be outside, which is something that's been lovely in our tefillot, like looking up at the sky, seeing the sunset. If you turn around in the parking lot, you can see the colors of the sky changing. So choosing your setting if the weather is good.
Yeah. I fear that the good weather is going to run out before we get to go quote unquote back to normal. So
don't break that news to me yet.
Yeah. So we should take advantage of the good weather. I have a line I tell my children. I say there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just inappropriate clothing. They don't believe me. I don't know if you believe me or not, but we'll see how long we can maintain an outdoor minyan as we go into winter. And hopefully, please God, we'll have testing and vaccines and treatments, and we'll get to have a more normal prayer experience before too long, as everyone says.
Amen.
Let's just end with just like tachlis information about the holidays. Like, please, if you haven't already made plans, if you want indoor activities, indoor tefillah options, like you got to sign up. We've closed the sign up for Rosh Hashanah. I've created a wait list. We'll try to accommodate everyone on the wait list. We have tricks up our sleeve we can use, but we just, as needed. But please let us know if you want to join us for in-person tefillah. If you signed up and you realize you're going to be away or you're going to be home, let us know as well. You can free up a spot for someone else. Yom Kippur, we're still accepting requests for slots, so please sign up for those if you're interested in in-person tefillah on Yom Kippur. And we are very soon going to announce slots for in-person children's programming.
I was going to say, be on the lookout for that. For an email announcing sign-ups and registration for our youth programming that is almost finalized. So we are going to have in-person, socially distanced youth programming in different forms. Please be on the lookout and sign up as soon as you can.
I want to just tell you, Kol HaKavod, as far as I know, we are the only synagogue in Lakeview that's offering in-person children's programming this Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So really Kol HaKavod to you, Rabbanit Goldie, and
Thanks.
Your team of staff and lay leaders who helped you plan and implement, like really Kol HaKavod. I think many of our sister congregations across the country are also not operating any children's programming whatsoever in person, and so this really speaks to our community's devotion to children and your own energy and professionalism that you came on our team and rolled up your sleeves and got to work on this. And
thanks so much. I hope God agrees and the weather is on our side. So
even if the weather's not so good and I think God still agrees. Okay, I'll go out on a limb and say that, but hopefully we'll have good weather. The shul's weather machine is very effective. We've never had Simchas Torah Hakafa rained out. Okay, So that's really the energy of the shul's weather machine, has really been focused on Simchas Torah, at least for the 7 years that I've been here. But we've
That's such
been
a
very
great
lucky.
rabbi
We've been
joke.
very lucky with our. Thank you. We've been very lucky with our outdoor Shabbat tefillot also. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Straw Hat. This is Straw Hat producer Haley Leventhal. Our podcast release schedule has been a little erratic lately as we're preparing for a very busy and unusual high holiday season. So thank you for listening and sticking with us. We really appreciate your support. Whether you are staying home for the holidays this year or joining us at shul, I hope that you and your families have a very happy, very healthy New Year, Shana Tova, and we'll see you for our next podcast episode in the new year.